everyone, how are you? Well, I just thought I would come out here as a really old guy, even older than usual. I hope everybody's having a beautiful day, and today we're working on, look at all these beautiful videos we've made, we're working on graphing systems of inequalities. So buckle up, make sure you've got those notes, and here we go. Alright, so first, before we even graph, we're going to work on figuring out, is the system really a true solution based off of this point? So is this point a system solution? First, all we're going to do is recognize that 1 goes with x and 19 goes with y, correct? Everyone agrees? Fantastic. So since we know that that's true, I'm going to stick 1 every time I see an x and a 19 every time I see a y, because this is x and this is y. So instead of x, boom, we're putting 1 there and there. Instead of y, boom, 19 for both of those. Alright, so I've got 19, and actually normally I just write this with blanks first. 3 blank plus 6. Alright, so I normally do that first. Then I go ahead and fill in the numbers. There's my 1s and my 19s. So in my calculator or in my brain, I'm going to do 7 times 1 minus 13. That gave me -6. Here in my calculator or in my brain, I'm going to do 3 times 1 is 3 plus 6 is 9. Great. Now what I have to tell you is that this is kind of like a wedding. So in order for this couple here to be married, they both have to say yes. So for them to be officially married, she's saying yes, he's saying yes, and then are they married? Yes. But if either one of them says no, are they married? Well, no, they're not. So if either one says no, this is a no. Or if both of them say no, then that's a no. So just like this, if either of these is a no, then the answer overall is no, it's not a solution. They both have to be yeses for this ordered pair to be a solution. Alright, so is this pointing to the colder temperature? Well, the answer was no. So I don't even have to look at this one. I know that my overall answer is no. Or as we say at my house, no. Alright, let's move on to another. Alright, go ahead, hit pause, give this one a shot. Go for it. Alright, by now hopefully you are finished. I'm going to move myself over a little bit just so you have room to see everything. Okay, this is x, this is y. I'm going to rewrite each inequality. Just like that. Here's my second one, leaving myself lots of room to show work. And making sure that I point my inequalities the correct direction. Now, instead of y, I'm going to put 12. Instead of x, I put 2. Make sure you put them in the correct place. Instead of x, I put 2, and y is 12. So here we go. On my calculator, I do 3 times 2 plus 4. That gives me 10. Over here, this gives me 10 minus 24. There we go. Now, is this pointing to the cold temperature? Oh, yes, it is. But that does not mean my overall answer is yes. Remember that both of them have to say yes for this to work. Is this one pointing to the cold temperature? Yes, that one is also. So my overall total answer is yes. This is a solution to this system of inequalities, sorry. Alright, so what does this all mean? Well, I'll show you in just a moment. First, let's work on graphing. Let's do the reds with red. That only makes sense. Now, I'm going to pretty quickly graph the lines since you already know how to graph lines. If you don't know how to graph lines, you want to at least go back to last week's and check it out. So minus 5 goes right here, and then from there I'm going up 2 and over 1. And keep going up 2 and over 1 to make it a nice straight line. You want this to be really straight. I'm going to draw a dotted line for this one because there's no equal sign. Remember, like we said last week, if there's no equal sign, you're drawing a dotted line. Next, let's do the blue. Some people like to solve for y. I just prefer doing the intercepts. So I write down 3x equals 12. Again, the equal sign doesn't really matter right here because we're only looking at a point for this part. And let's do this in blue so I'm not confused. So I divide by 3. This gives me x equals 4. I divide by 4. That gives me y equals 3. So on my x line, I'm going over 4. On my y line, I'm going up 3. This one is less than, so I have to stick with a dotted line. And there it is. You want your line to take up your whole graph, all the way across. Okay, now that we have that, we're going to check out and see which side we have to color. I have 0 is greater than, you know that this would be 0, minus 5. Because I substitute 0 for x and y. Remember, I like 0, 0 to be my test point to see if I color. So, looking only at the red line, only at the red, do I color that point right there? That's the decision you have to make. Well, is this pointing to the colder temperature or the smallest number? Hopefully you said yes. So since it is pointing to the colder temperature or the smallest number, I need to color this side. And I always run out of room on this pen pad, sorry, so it always looks kind of ugly. Alright, now let's do the blue. This gives me 0, that gives me 0 when I plug in zeros. So I have 0 is less than 12. Is that pointing to the cold temperature? Hopefully you're saying yes. So do I color 0, 0? Let's try that again. Do I color 0, 0 looking only at the blue line? Yes. So again, looking only at the blue line, this is where it gets a little distracting. You have to pretend the red line's not there and color all of this. Alright, sorry again about my lines being kind of ugly. Okay, so if I asked you, what is the solution to this graph? It is where my red and my blue is overlapping. So anywhere in this area would be a solution. If I picked any point in this area, it would make both of these be yes. For example, 0, 0 is what I used, and that is in this section, and both of these were yes. Amazing. You could have always go back and plug in any other point that you see in here and make sure that they both give you yes, just to kind of check your answer. Alright, let's do another. You'll notice I'm trying to keep one in slope-intercept form and one in standard form, just to give you some extra practice. Alright, here we go. First one. Oh, actually, you know what? You can hit pause. You can do some of this on your own and then hit play when you're ready to check your answer. That's a good idea. Alright, there's 2. My slope was -1 over 1, so I'm going down 1, right 1. I'm going to keep going down 1 and right 1 to make my line really straight. My line this time is going to be a solid line. And I probably should have made it red. Sorry about that. Let's try again. That's better. Now for the blue line. With the blue, I'm putting a 0 for x and a 0 for y. So I'll show this out one last time. Put a 0 for both of those. That gives me 0 is less than 4. Is this pointing to the cold temperature? Yes, it is. Oh, I skipped my step where I didn't even graph it yet. I'm so sorry. So I'll put a 0 for x, or for y. That gives me 2x equals 4. I'll put a 0 for x. That gives me 4y equals 4. divide both sides by 2, and I get 2. Here I'm dividing both sides by 4, and I get 1. So x equals 2, y equals 1. Now in this section we don't care where they intersect, we're only looking for where the two colored sections are overlapping. So the fact that it crosses here does not make any difference for us really at all. Alright, now that I have those, I'm going to draw this time a dotted line there because I have no equal sign. Alright, this looks like it's going down 1 and over 2, so I'm going to keep going down 1 and over 2 until I get to the edge of my graph, and then draw the line. Alright, I already got overly excited and gave away the answer. Do I color my 0, 0 point? You said yes. So let's color that. Oh my goodness, that's the most beautiful drawing I've ever done on this pen pad. That's exciting. Alright. Oh my gosh, I've disappeared. Where did I go? There I am. Whew, that was scary. Now let's do the red. That's what I get for trying to fix things as I'm going. Now I'm going to put in a 0 in for x and y. So that gives me 0 is greater than or equal to 0 plus 2. Is 0 greater than or equal to 2? I'm afraid not. No. So on my graph, do I color 0, 0? You said no. So this part has to stay not red. So I'm going to go over here and color this section red. Alright, now it's a little bit hard to see where they overlapped, but hopefully you can see that it's red and blue all in here. So this purple part would be my solution. Alright, do you need time for one more? Sure, let's do it. Do I want that one? No. That one? No. That one? Yeah, let's try this one. Alright, so I'm going to put a 0 in place of x and y after I first graphed it. So on my graph, there's -2. My slope is -3, so it goes there. Up 3 left 1, so I can go up 3 left 1, up 3 left 1. And I'm going to have a dotted line because there's no equal sign. As promised, I put in a 0 for x and y, and I get this. Is this pointing to the cold temperature? No. So do I color that spot? You said no, so I'm going to have to color this spot right here. Oops, sorry, I went over the line. My coloring's not very good, as you've noticed. Alright, so that's horrible. Sorry, this little area is pink. Now let's do the blue. This one's in standard form, so of course I'm going to put 6x equals 12 and 2y equals 12. Oh, it's -12 though. -12. Then divide both sides by 6. That gives me -2 for x. Divide both sides by 2. That gives me -6. Oh my goodness. That gives me -6 for y. So if x is -2 and y is -6, that's way down there. I have to make this one also a dotted line because there's no equal sign. And my graph will do crazy things until I draw it. There's my beautiful drawing. Now I'm going to put a 0 for x and y. That gives me 0 is greater than -12. Does this point to the colder temperature? Oh, yes it does. So, do I color 0, 0 here? Yes, I do. So, ignoring the red, I'm going to start here and color that way. Ah. Okay, where do these lines intersect? Or overlap, I should say. They should be overlapping in here. These were parallel to each other, if you noticed, because the slope here is -3, the slope here is -3. So they're never going to cross, but the overlapping section is in the middle. Now let's pretend everything was actually pointing the opposite direction. So if the blue had been pointing the other way and the red had been pointing the other way for the inequalities, you would have had a white section in here and they would not have overlapped. If they do not overlap, your answer is no solution. All right, well, we have enough time for one more. Let's do another. All right, here we go. Let's do the red. Go ahead, hit pause actually. Do it on your own and then hit play again. We'll do it. We'll be here waiting. Go ahead, take your time. All right, there's 4. From there, up 2 and over 1. I want to make this straight, so I'll go down 2 and left 1. Just like this. Dotted line because we have no equal sign. Like that. I'm plugging in zeros. 0 less than 4. Oh yeah. So do I color here? Yes, I do. Well, good enough. Now for the blue, this is in standard form, so I have -3. Let's try it in blue. Blue, there we go. -3x equals 6, -2y equals 6. I'm dividing here by -3, that gives me x is -2. Here I'm dividing by -2, that gives me y is -3. So if x is -2, that's there. If y is -3, that's down here. Again, we don't really care that they crossed there. That's great that they do. Now I'm going to connect my dots with this beautiful straight line and extend my line all the way through my graph. Now I plug in a 0 for x and y. Since it's in standard form, I know that that whole left side is going to be 0. Is 0 bigger than 6? Well, I'm afraid no, it is not. So do I color the test point 0, 0? You said no, so let's color over here instead. Okay, where do they overlap? You should be able to see that they are overlapping in this area right here, where the red and blue overlap. Okay, well, thank you all very much again for paying attention, for working hard, and doing all the stuff you're supposed to be. Don't forget, if you need any extra help, I am here waiting for you. Send me that email. Let me know how you're doing. Go ahead, check out my Canvas page. My email address is on the bottom. If you need more help, you could always look at my office hours. Connect with me during office hours. You can see where to Zoom. And if you're doing fine, that's great. Go ahead, bust out that homework and start working on that. Thank you again very much for your hard work. Oh, I hope you have a wonderful week, everybody. Enjoy.